So my name is Lisa Neddam. I'm in charge at IBM of our cloud data service offerings in Europe. So all analytical and data services that we run in the cloud, and amongst other, the data science experience, which we released at the end of last year. And today I'd like to give you a quick introduction as to what it is, but mainly why we did it. Some of you may know that IBM has been in the data science business for quite a while now, mainly with some tools that we acquired a while ago, like SPSS, but more and more IBM is looking into contributing even more heavily in the open source world. And what we've seen in the developer community of developers really adopting open source technologies, shaping the community, we're now seeing very heavily in the data science community. And IBM is investing a lot in Apache Spark and in many of the open source technologies that data scientists use. And within our own data science community, we have a lot of data scientists within IBM, but also in the conversations we've been having with our customers, we realized I would say three main challenges, and we heard about them today already. So it's nothing that IBM came up with. It's really what we're seeing in the industry, and that is that the first big challenge around data science is the people. It's the skills. Finding really good data scientists is a challenge for customers, for enterprises, and there are a quite scarce resource. And the reason why that is mainly because it does require to have so many different skills. You need to have, most data scientists have a math background, but in order to be able to work in a corporation and understand the business issues that underlie the data science, you need a business understanding at least. Maybe not a business background, but you need to be able to understand business issues. And at the other end of the spectrum, you also need to be able to communicate the results, the outcomes, what you found. And in most cases, you're going to communicate that back to the business. So again, you need to have that deep knowledge and understanding of math and of science, but also you need to be able to relate to the business. That's the first challenge we see, and it is directly related to the second one, which is, where do data scientists fit in to the organization, in the innovation process of a company? They are making a link between the business and the IT departments very often. They need to rely on IT professionals, data professionals to get data, qualitative data, clean data, and then they need to work on the other end of the spectrum with sometimes developers or with business process experts to put into production the insights that they were able to gain. And so finding their place and being able to collaborate with all of those professionals is definitely a key challenge. And it was said multiple times before, it is a human challenge, it is an organizational challenge. And then the third challenge that we see is, as in any innovative area, things change very quickly. So even if you are able to find someone who has kind of those three skills of having the math background, mastering the technology, and having that business understanding, they need to keep up to date with the new business challenges, with the new technologies. And especially when we're talking open source, that does require a lot of self-enablement, of willingness to explore new technologies, look what the newest features are, and so that requires a lot of ongoing learning. And those three elements that we've recognized and seen in the market, we've tried to build into the offering, into the experience for data scientists, of having one platform where they can do those three things, being learning, continuously learning, creating their models, obviously, and then collaborating within their data science teams, but also with the wider professionals within the organization and with the external communities and the external world. So that learning effect is really happening through having a community section within the the platform. When you enter the data science experience, the first thing you see is a catalog of articles, of tutorials, of notebooks that have been created either by IBMers or by other data scientists that you can leverage and use. And you can search for the assets that you need, and you can take trainings, you can engage in online universities, and all of that obviously in the open source community feeling is free of charge and does require time investment, but is there and available for the data scientist who would like to get upskilled in certain areas. The fact that we have notebooks there, I also insist on that, because what we find when talking to data scientists is also that a lot of them strive to create the next new thing, and that's great, and intellectually may be very stimulating and interesting. But when you are in the business world, it really comes down to finding a useful model that works and that generates revenue or customer satisfaction or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And in that context, reinventing the wheel every time is not necessarily the right answer, especially if you want to be able to innovate quickly. So being able to leverage what's out there already, things that are working, that have proven to be useful, is critical in order to be able to move forward quickly. The creating effect. Obviously, you need a platform where you have all your tooling to be able to create your models. And I've already said in the introduction, IBM is trying here to bring together on one platform the best of the open source world with the best of what we've been developing over the last decades. So the open source tooling we've talked a lot about already, RStudio, Jupyter Notebooks, Pythons, developing in any of the languages that you want. That's very, very important. And it's also very important because you take advantage of the strengths of the community that comes with those open source tools. And when we look at our graduates, the data scientists that we hire fresh out of university, those are the tools that they like, that they want to work with. So they're all available on the platform. But, and not to be forgotten, we also have the added values that we've developed as a company for the last decades that are fueled into the platform. And this is important for two reasons. First of all, not everyone is a coder. And we have a lot of data scientists that prefer drag and drop approaches, that prefer approaches that do not require to know Python or R, but also because the research and intellectual property that has gone into those tools, like, for example, SPSS or CPLEX, decision optimization, this is experience we've gathered for years now. And the reason why IBM is the leader in the Magic Quadrant of Gartner in data science, let's be honest, it is because of SPSS. And if you read the latest report, they obviously notice the data science experience, and to them it's a great added value. But the core of the assessment that makes us a leader remains in tools like SPSS. And I think it's also a great opportunity for people who weren't necessarily familiar with those tools to be able to look into them through the experience, the data science experience. Now on to the collaborating factor. And I think we said it multiple times in the different sessions, it is the key. It is the human element of bringing back or bringing together all of the data professionals that actually contribute to innovation. And the collaboration for me happens at two levels. The first level is within a team. So within the data science experience, you get to create projects where you invite colleagues to a project where you can post your notebooks, where you have your data assets, where you have maybe bookmarks of interesting things you've read or used for your analysis. And the reason why collaboration at this point is very important is because obviously, when many people think about an issue, we have more chances of coming up with great results. But it is also because of the nature of data science. When you try and find an answer to a question, you go through hypotheses. And you need to demonstrate that a hypothesis that you're making is true. But actually, if you want to be thorough and do it in a deep way, in a complete way, in an exhaustive way, you also need to demonstrate that alternative hypotheses are actually wrong. Because, and that we see that very often in analytics in general. If you reduce your scope on trying to find an answer to one question, taking a hypothesis and rating it, you're only seeing potentially one really small part of the spectrum. And that thoroughness of exploring different angles, of also validating that maybe other approaches are wrong to really justify that this one is the right one, does take a lot of time and effort. And this is a team sport, and we said it multiple times here. And being able, as a data science team, to split the work, to collaborate, to do it effectively is key. And then, as we said, you need to collaborate with your other colleagues and data professionals within the enterprise. If a data scientist spends hours, days, weeks cleaning data before being able to do any analysis, that's time they won't be able to spend on the actual modeling. So being able to work with your data engineers who can prepare data, post them in the projects, for you to then, for a business analyst, for example, do a first, take a first look at the data, find trends before they pass that on to their data scientist colleagues. That's kind of the workflow we see in the innovation projects. It rarely starts with data science. And that project approach of bringing together the different professionals with their own tool set, but that is linked through the project approach, really allows teams to come together. And it may sound quite obvious, but in practice we see that it still is a big challenge, especially within the big corporations. Small and agile companies usually work together on a day-to-day basis, but when you have different departments, even within the IT world, working separately, you do have silos. And bringing those people together on one platform is really key. The data science experience, as I said, to wrap it up, brings all the tooling, the learning, the collaboration into one place. And what I would add, coming back to the previous slide, is this is the view from the data science perspective, but as I said, the aim is really to be able to pull in your other colleagues. And to do that, IBM is not just offering a platform with the tooling, we're also offering a method or an approach where called the data first method, where we are spending time with our customers to go through one specific use case, ideally a small use case to start with, because that has proven to be best practices, to try and put that collaboration in, or turn that into a reality. And I'm really insisting on that because I think in the innovation world, in the cloud world, we tend to think that everything is, I'm going to click on a button, it's going to happen magically. The entire process and culture change you need within an organization to be successful is really dependent on how people work together. And our experience has been that starting with a small use case, being able to do that with the different data professionals, getting quick value out of it, is the right way to engage rather than trying to do it all at the same time and trying to change everything at once.